Anymore.
Okay, we're recording. Hi everyone.
Hi guys.
Sam and I are just looking back through the questions that we had that we didn't get a chance to answer on the group call. We already started talking about it, and then we hit record.
We kind of answered half the questions and realised we were just like almost practicing. We might as well just record them.
We're so eager to get started.
Every time.
So Cynthia, we were talking about, I mean, there's a lot of questions here around money. So our answers might kind of address all questions. But Cynthia's question, the video that you did, that's very similar to Kevin's question that he has around like resistance fears around the transition from free or pro bono helping conversations, where I've reached out to offer help that they will find I was not genuine with my original offer and I've hoodwinked them, and it was all just part of a sales scheme to sign them on. So yeah, Sam, do you want to share what you were saying first?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've got a list of things actually. The first one was if something to play with, and we were saying how actually me and you we've never had to feel like we've needed to do this, only in that it's never really come up, but it's happened once or twice. In that because Cynthia brought up the contracting piece at the very beginning, it's like if you feel like that would be a helpful thing to do, then yeah, chuck it in the contracting piece at the beginning, and that might look like I'm looking for people to work with. I'm looking for people to work with on a longer term to help them create what it is they're trying to create, whatever that means to you. And set the context. So there's no surprises. People are really aware to begin with. How useful that is, I haven't had to do it a whole lot myself. I don't have a lot of experience with that, just because when you're offering somebody some time, and I'm not just saying here's half-hour discovery session, it's like I'm offering them sometimes 4 to 6 hours of coaching, So just again, it comes back to experience. Give them the experience, and they're going to soon see that you're there on their side, and you're not there just to make money. And that experience will tell them what they need to know. So that's my first point.
Should we alternate points, or do you want to?
Can you see it's Friday? It's like Friday morning. I haven't slept much.
Yeah, what I was thinking was I don't think that I really do that contracting piece. If I do, it's so rare that nothing's really coming to mind, other than when I'm enrolling for, like, if I've got a group that's starting and it's really specific, like it's going to start on this day and there's a fee for it. When I'm thinking about who do I want to speak to that would be good and suitable for this group, I'll send out a message again. Like I always start with my inner circle. So depending on who it is, I might text them or email them or pick up the phone and call them. But usually that initial connection message is just something like, it really ranges. It's like, do you have 10 minutes? I've got some ideas I want to share with you, or I'm working on a project that might be really helpful for you. Do you have like 30 minutes for a quick call? Or I might say, if people know about the women's space already, then I might say, I'm running another women's group. It starts in April. It might not be a fit for you, but I wanted to make you aware. Like, do you have some time we can hop on a call and have a conversation about it? It's totally okay to say no. Like if you've got the details and it's not a fit, it's totally okay. And then in that conversation, I would say, like, this is the details of the program, this is the fee. So I'm really upfront about things like that. But when it's a one-on-one initial conversation where I'm just kind of poking around to see, can I help in some way? Like, what do you need help with? What's on your mind? Let's talk about that. At that stage, I have no idea if I want to work with them. I have an idea. I just contradicted myself. I have an idea that I might want to work with them, but I don't have any idea that I definitely will want to work with them. So at that stage, money's just not even on my, it's not on my radar because I'm not there. I'm not on that part of the process yet. So it doesn't feel disingenuous. Like I'm not trying to hook anyone into anything.
Yeah.
I just want to have a conversation. And I think, you know, we always talk about slowing down to speed up. Like totally pinched out from Rich Litvin, but we do, like we talk about it because that feels relevant here. Like slow down. Yes, you know, you need clients to create a successful practice. Having enough of these really genuine conversations over time is going to create you that business that you're looking for. Yeah. Does that fully answer the question? I'm thinking if we've left any stones unturned. I can't think of where I have reached out to someone and talked about, yeah, I haven't ever said to somebody, do you want to have a conversation? And you know, if this leads to something, then I'm going to start charging you, or any kind of a variation of that. I just haven't done it. And that's because I don't know until I'm in that conversation whether it's going to be helpful for them, whether it's going to serve either of us, both of us, all of us. Yeah, it's not on my radar. It's not on my radar. And I think that just, I don't know if that's how I felt at the beginning. I can't tap into that now. It's like it's almost like it's a bit alien to me. But potentially in the beginning, you know, when there's more of an attachment to having an outcome, there's more of an attachment to, oh, here's a lead. Now I really need to convert this lead. So I think just the more conversations you have, the less this will be an issue.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah, it kind of feels like one of those, because I was the same. I was thinking about when I first started, there was that excitement there. So yeah, there was definitely more of an attachment, and coming from the internet marketing world where leads are like gold dust. Whereas now it's like you can just have conversations and create them anytime you like. So they're not so rare. And I think as well, I get from in my own experience, this is one of those things where the answer lays the other side of experience. You know, go out and make some proposals, go out and go through this whole process many, many times. And that will clear the intention, because what we're talking about here in part, I think, is conditioning around money, is conditioning around sales, is conditioning around getting clients and what money means. Because in my experience, people want to pay. Like you've coached them for 2 or 3 sessions, and then the amount of times people have said to me, Sam, what can we talk about money? Or how much is it going to cost for me to continue to work with you, and this sort of stuff. Then we maybe start having that conversation then. But there's definitely a piece here around conditioning, because if you're having that experience before you've asked the question, then it's not the question. It's just that kind of understanding of what it might mean. So there's a piece here. It's kind of, yeah, it lays on the other side of experience, and that will clean and clear the intention for yourself over time. So just keep doing it.
I've got a few good examples actually that I just thought of as you were talking. When I first started to work with a friend, so we were in the initial conversation stages. She said, let me take you out for dinner. And I've had this a couple of times. So friends are like, oh, I wanna say thanks for the time that we've had together, like after just, 2 or 4 or 6 hours. It's like, I want to say thanks for that time. And it's like, for me, that was off the table. Like, that's not saying that's the right thing to do. There's no right or wrong. So you do whatever feels right for you. There's nothing wrong with I've had it where people have said, can I pay you for your time? Like, I'm not in a position where I can go ahead with a full program, but I want to pay you for your time so far. And it's totally up to you. It's not my way of doing things. But it is an option if that's what you want. Like if you really need money right now and someone's saying, I don't want to go forward with a full thing, but like, can I pay you for the 2 or 3 sessions that we've had? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying yes to that if you want to. I haven't done it, so I can't speak from experience, but I have had that put forward to me. And so, yeah, a couple of friends have said, like, let me take you out for dinner and drinks and that kind of thing. And again, it's like, no. Just not being afraid to say no to that. Like, you know, I appreciate the offer, but let's go back to what we said at the beginning. This isn't a friendship space. This is a coaching relationship space, and I don't ever want to blur those boundaries. So, you know, the agreement that we had was, I'll give you some time, and let's just stick to that agreement. So there's a way that you can do it in a really organic, you know, natural way without offending anybody. But for me, it just felt really important that this isn't, my business is a professional business. It's not around, you know, I'll give you this and you pay my nails, or that's not how I want to run my business either. So yeah, so I've had those scenarios come up, and that's how I've navigated those. But again, you do what feels right for you and your circumstances.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that's all kind of all I had really. I wrote down, you know, this was just something that came up for me, which is what's wrong with charging. Because I think at some point when you have that conversation around money, like I said, people are really open to it. They want to talk about it, or they don't. It's that by that point, the experiences that's been had is quite vast, and you've had time between sessions to serve them as well. So it might be a month, it might be a few weeks, it might be a few months. You know, by then, if you're proposing too soon, it might feel like that. But by then, you're not going to feel like that. I'd be very surprised if you feel like that. You're going to feel nervous, going to feel a bit kind of edgy and a bit scary. Cool, that's fine, that's normal. But when it comes to sort of feeling disingenuous or like I'm trying to just get money out of someone now, I don't feel like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. And I would be looking for, like, genuinely, with all of my heart, what would serve this person going forward? Like, what would a program look like for them? What is it that they need? And it might be that they don't need anything. It might be that in those 2 or 3 sessions, they've had everything, they've heard everything that they've needed to hear. And so that's why it feels icky. Because actually now I'm going into something and I don't really know what we're going to work on, but I want to convert them into a client. So that's something to check in with. But in terms of transitioning, like that conversation, you know, there's certainly, where it's not a script, but there's certainly things that I've seen that feel more natural now. Just really understanding what's been helpful for you, like asking the questions, you know, what insights have you had since we've been talking? Like, how has this helped you? What's been beneficial? I want to know about that, just for genuine curiosity, because how can I be expected to offer anything or nothing if I have no idea what they're actually taking from the sessions? So if someone says to me, you know what, nothing, which I've never had, but if somebody was to say to me, I don't think, yeah, but I mean, it's been a nice conversation, but I don't know what I've got from it, then I wouldn't be going, great, let's do a year together.
I think you need a year to understand
that. Yeah. So just get curious about, like, what from their perspective, because we can make a ton of assumptions and we can have ideas around what we think has been helpful for them. But from their perspective, what has having this space over the last 2 or 3 sessions, 2 or 3 months, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it is, you know, what's been the benefits of that for you?
Yeah, perfect. I was just trying to think of any other, just really emptying out the bin here just to make sure there's nothing that I'm holding on to. The only other thing I think I have is what actually did change for me, and this is really something maybe that we wouldn't consider, is that when I actually invested in myself, that changed. Because this isn't me saying invest in yourself, because that's not what this is about. Like, if you know, that's not what this is about. But what really changed for me was when I did invest in myself, because I kind of see that when you're charging someone, or when you're talking about money, you're making that proposal, somebody's paying you, they are also investing in themselves, and you are also heavily investing in them. Like, because don't forget, yeah, they're giving you money, but you're investing maybe 6 months of your life with somebody. So for me, when I invested in myself, it didn't give me permission. It just made me see and experience the other side of that, which was actually, I'm really excited, but really scared, you know, So having somebody there that's really present and really slowing you down and just created that experience with you where you fully trust that they've got you, it takes that away. And it's still there, but it's not a definition anymore. It's just an experience. And that makes it clearer then for people to say yes. So yeah, there's something around that for me too as well, like permission.
Yeah. And speaking really authentically about what we do as a profession, you know, like that. Since I've started this, I've never not had a coach. Often I've probably had too many coaches. But yeah, I've never not had a coach. And so I can speak really authentically about, here's why I have a coach. Like, here's what it's done for me. And I'm not in a bad place. Like, you know, a lot of time people think, oh, I'm okay, I don't need coaching. And it's like, yeah, I agree, no one needs coaching. It's not about need, it's about, what do you want? And would it be helpful to have that kind of support whilst you're creating whatever it is you're creating, or whilst you're going through whatever it is you're going through? So for me, it's like, I just know the value that I've had from working with coaches, like inside and outside shifts. So I can speak really authentically about that. Like, I'm not trying to sell anything to anyone. I'm speaking from my own experience. Here's how it's helped me. Yeah. So I think that probably is enough for answer Kevin's question and Cynthia's video. We have a few other questions around money, Sam. So Cynthia's second question was around money blocks, and she's saying it's not so much in fear of getting no. She's okay with getting no in proposals, but the blocks are in terms of worthiness and charging. And it's similar-ish to Andrea's, which is, do I stick to one price range or change it according to the people I'm working with? So they are slightly different questions. Do you have thoughts on either of those that you want to start with?
Yeah, so money blockers, not so much fear of getting no proposals, but other blockers in terms of worthiness and charging. So worthiness and charging, what I'm hearing there is kind of a sense of, do I feel worthy to charge this amount of money? Is that fair?
That sounds like that's what the question is to me. Yeah.
Cool. It's early and I'm slightly dyslexic with lots of words on the screen, so I have to make sure I'm totally clear. Conversation's always better for me. You know, again, for me and only me, I tend to, if my coaching practice looked like a rugby pitch and I was a rugby player, I wouldn't be the clean player on the outside of the pitch with his kit all pristine, standing there, not doing a lot. I'd be the guy in the middle that's covered in mud, messy, looks complete mess and state when he comes off the pitch, cuts, bruises, the works. Because I think that for me is the essence of what growing a coaching practice looks like. So again, it's experience. It's going and being really curious about that question, rather than it being how worthy am I and how am I going to feel when I say how much I'm charging. It's like, go and find out, go get curious, go and start with something, and if it doesn't feel like enough, charge more next time. If it feels like too much, charge a little bit less. Like, I don't think, again, everybody's different, but for me, it's just go and play with it. Take the heaviness away. Go and have fun with it and see where it lands. See, the exciting thing for me was not how much am I worth, but how much am I worth? Like, how much am I honestly worth? And I remember that first time where the highest figure I've ever got to date was 15 grand. And I remember just before that, I'd offered a 12K program to someone where they'd said yes. And I never for the life of me thought that anyone would ever say yes. And I've had that a few times now. And that wouldn't have come if I hadn't have just been really curious and willing to just see what it felt like. Yeah. You know, I know deep down that my coaching is worth that. I know that, and it's the space we create with that person. But yeah, there's just that sense of just go and have fun and don't take that part so seriously. Like it'll get all heavy around money. It's like, just go and enjoy it and see what happens.
Yeah. there's something for me as well around, my worthiness. It's really personal. I would feel awkward and clunky if I was like making it feel so personal. Um,
No one
I
can
wonder,
afford me.
I wonder if a better question was, because I know Cynthia's investing in herself too, right? So it's almost like, are you seeing that as part of this? Like, are you seeing that you've invested in your own development and your own growth journey? Like, for me, that feels like it's all part of it. And I don't. When I look at myself and my fees, or if I'm going to use it, I've never used these words, but my worthiness, like just to be aligned with how you're kind of speaking, I don't look at I look at the whole picture, right? I look at, fucking hell, I have so much experience, right? From before I even badged myself as a coach. I've been in learning and development in human resources on leadership course after leadership course after leadership course. I've been in like facilitating mediations and grievances, and like even when I was hairdressing, the listening that I would do for 8 hours a day, like everything in there has shaped me into who I am and the coach I am today. So it's not losing sight of the power that is inside of you. Like not just going, right, well, I started coaching in, I don't know, November, and therefore, because it's only April, I can only charge this because I've only been doing it for like 5-6 months. So look beyond that. Look beyond that to see all the lessons that you've had in life, all the experiences you've gone through in life. Because storytelling is really powerful for other people to hear messages in themselves too. So that's the first part. Is I would just, any stories that I've got about I'm new to this, I would leave them at the door. And then the other way of looking at it is asking yourself something like, I'll just pick a figure, right? But let's say I want to charge 10K for my services. Then I would go, what would a 10K program look like? Would it be 2-hour sessions? Would it be intensives every quarter? Would it be 2 like bi-weekly sessions with 3 one-day workshops? Would it be a 15-minute check-in call every single day for 365 days? Would it be for the first 3 months of would it be a year-long program, but for the first 3 months we do something every day? Like I'm going to send you an email every day. So again, it's like, if I want to charge somebody 10K, if that's what I want my fee to be, then I'm going to think about, what do I need to deliver? Like, what would a 10K program look like? How can I make this 10K's worth of value? Like looking at the bits that are in my control. So it's not up to me how they show up. But it will, like, what I found, the higher the fees that I've had, the I don't know, it's like lit a fire in my ass, It's like, the other day I was looking at, if I was designing a 10K program for this particular person, knowing this particular person, I was coming up with all kinds of bonkers ideas. I was like, oh, we could do an ayahuasca retreat. And like, I'd never ever thought of doing that before. I've never done one myself, but but knowing what I knew about this person, I was like, it would be super fucking cool to send them to Spain, like to go with them to Spain and do this retreat. So, I was looking at how much that would cost, and I think it was something like £600. But it's like, if they were paying 10K for a year's long program, then I might throw in something like that. So yeah, it's Cynthia, I know that you would step up to the mark. Like, whatever your fee you want it to be, I know that you would step up to it. I just know that you would. Like, from the conversations we've had so far, there's no way you wouldn't. Yeah, so that's probably a different way of looking at it. Maybe a more helpful way of looking at it than, am I worth X amount of money?
Yeah. Good one.
And then it probably leads us nicely onto Andrew's question. So do I stick to one price range or change it according to the people I'm working with?
Good question, that one. Do you want me to start?
You start.
All right, then. Taking it in turns. It's very civilized this morning. I like it. So the amount I charge someone will vary, sometimes depending on affordability, but not changing like how much a session is worth, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like if I had someone who was absolutely minted sat in front of me and I knew that they had loads of money, and I had someone that I knew didn't, the kind of the hourly rate would be the same. It's just that there might be more in the program. It might be that the program's longer. But honestly, for me, and everyone is different, but for me, and the people that I've worked with and the people that I've seen that it works best, is to just ask yourself, what is going to serve this person? I could start from there.
Mm.
And I had it just last week where I knew that this person, I can't ever say I know 100%. I was 99% sure after discussions with her that she wasn't going to be able to afford my fees. But I said them anyway, because why wouldn't I? Why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't she hear them? And then from that point, then we got creative and we worked backwards and we found something that worked for her. Unfortunately, we couldn't find anything in the end, but she knows my fees for the future. On the flip side of that, I've had conversations recently with somebody who I do know, and I know him very well, and he has loads of money, but it still didn't change. We went for a 6-month program, and there was a lot more included within it. There was more time and more contact time and more sessions included within it, and it was, the total fee was almost double. But it's not because he had more money, it's because it served him. So that's the question for me. It's like, what serves the person? And I think when we're kind of making assumptions, that's when we're in danger of making it about money. Whereas if we're asking what serves that person, whether they, whether it's right or whether it's a yes or a no, it's kind of just being really honest and keeping within integrity, of what we think will serve them, and start from that space and then work your way around and get creative if you need to.
Yeah. I want to add on to that point. This what do I want to say? This wasn't something that I did in the early days. So I feel more confident now to have these types of conversations through being that rugby player with my face in the mud, right? It's like through doing it, I feel like I'm way more confident and capable, able to have these conversations because I've been through that messy, like, get dirty phase. Still in it. Like, we'll always be in it. It doesn't end. But so I had a conversation with somebody who we'd spoken like a year ago, probably just over a year ago, about one-on-one coaching, and I'd given her a figure and she wasn't ready to invest. Like, there was so much fear there. So when I started doing my women's group programs, the fee was less, and so I reached back out to her and said, do you want to be a part of this? It might be a more accessible price point for you. And she said, yes, I would love to be a part of that. So she signed up to that, and she got a ton of value from it. But there was something in her where she's just like, so I had a conversation with her, got back into a one-to-one conversation, and I said to her, you were swimming in the same pond, like, with her stories. It's like 1 minute she's on a high and she's like ready to face the world, and then she gets all of this self-doubt and negativity, like, thoughts back in her head, and she's just stuck in them. It's like a total habit loop. And so I said to her, that figure, it's not enough to get you out of the pond. Like, it's not, that's a safe number for you. Like, what's the number where you would jump into the fucking ocean with both feet? Like, what's that number? What would you have to invest in yourself to be all in this game? And I let her come up with a figure. She came up with 10K. So, and that's more than what our initial conversation was this time, like last year when we spoke. So that's another way of doing it. But again, like there was a relationship there, you know, for me, it felt like that was really in service to her, to help her see what is truly going to stop you from faffing around, from buying into your stories, because there's no commitment there right now. What's the figure that would make you commit beyond belief?
Yeah.
So yes, I've been having those conversations, but that in the beginning, like I don't know where everybody is in their practice. In the beginning, I had one fee because I wanted to say it confidently. So my fee for my very, very, very first paying clients was £300 for a 3-month program. It didn't stay that way for long, but at the time it was like 500 just felt a bit too scary, but 300 felt doable. So that's what I charge: 1 hour sessions every 2 weeks for 3 months, £300. And yeah, I had one fee and I had one package, one program, because I wanted to be able to say, here's how we can work together. And for me not to be like, oh my God, do I choose this or this or this or this or this or this? The very, very early stages of my practice, that's what I was doing. Like one fee, one program, that was it. Again, not saying that's the right way, but it was the way that I did it. So take it if it's helpful, leave it if it's not. And then I started to progress. So then I started to form more like a menu. And so I had an idea, like Sam says, it's like I could work out. So let's stick with the 300. Excuse me. Let's say if it was £300 and you got 6 sessions, was that £50 an hour? So I would have that on my sleeve. So I would be like, right, I'm going to hold my £50 an hour, but I want to earn £600 for 3 months. So it's like, right, well, so we're going to do 2-hour sessions. So then I would have a bit of a menu. So it'd be like, right, we can do a 3-month program that's more intensive. So we do longer sessions, we do 2-hour sessions, we really create the space, blah, 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 whatever it looked like. And for that, it's £600. And that's where I'd start. And then if someone was like, ooh, I don't know if I could pay that, well, I would work through that, like, cool, let's coach on some of these money objections. But then up my sleeve as well, it's like, how about if we did a less intensive program? How about if we started with still 3 months, so you've got that longer term support, but how about if we did 1-hour sessions? And for that, it's £300. Oh yeah, I can do £300. Or if they still can do £300, how about we break it into installments? You can pay in 2 installments, 150 at the beginning, 150 in the middle. How does that sound? Oh yeah, I could do that. That's more doable. So it's like trying to, like Sam says, it's what would serve people. I never want someone to be financially putting themselves in a really tricky position where they're choosing between me or paying the mortgage. Like, you know, I don't want people to be in that boat. So it's helping them be able to say yes if it really is a yes and the money is just the issue. And sometimes a menu can kind of help with that. Yeah, so I think that, let me just recheck Andrew's question. Do I stick to one price range or change it according to people I'm working with? Yeah, I think that probably.
Totally forgotten, mate. I used to just have one program. I'd completely forgotten. And also back then, and actually what created the best salary I'd ever had in a year was doing that, just having one program. And obviously I've more since then and have more, my practice has grown, but I didn't even negotiate on that. It was like a yes or a no to that program. I wasn't even creative around cost, whereas now I am. You know, I'm much more free within that proposal conversation, like you said, because I'm more relaxed in it. But anyway, it's like, you know, this is it. My first one was £1,500. It was 2-hour sessions every week for 3 months. And yeah, and I did really well out of that, to be honest. Yeah, did really well out of that. But it definitely had its limitations, which I'll let people discover for themselves. But yeah.
Yeah.
So really great point. Make it simple as you can to start with. Great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that probably covers it. Do we have any other questions? Did we answer? I don't think we answered this one. So, Aliki, is it
Aliki?
Aliki?
Aliki, yeah.
Hi, Aliki. So I'm interested to hear how you establish successful businesses without all the marketing.
I mean, that's either a massively loaded answer or a really short one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did speak to a lot of this on the call. You know, we talked a lot about how we get into conversations with people, and so it's not that we don't do marketing, we just don't do it in the way that we normally consider marketing. Like, my version of marketing is connecting with someone and giving them an experience of me. That's my marketing. So yeah, I think we did talk a little bit about it on the call, but it is like the prosperous coach way. So it's not Facebook ads, it's not digital marketing. It's more connecting with people, inviting people into conversation, having those experiences, and then offering to work together if it feels right. It might be a good one to talk about on the next call as well, because I would love to know a little bit more about what's behind the question. There's stuff we can talk to about referrals, you know, I guess that's another form of marketing. And there's stuff we can talk about in terms of using social media to invite people into conversations. There's like, sometimes in groups I contribute in groups. So if somebody's got a question, I'll answer their question, like, or I'll give my thoughts on their question if they're looking for thoughts or feedback. So again, it's with that, it's like consistency, because your name, you know, you then start to, people see your posts. I've had people friend request me. I'm like, who's this? And then they're like, oh, thanks for the comment. It was really helpful for me. So that's another way of marketing, I suppose. But just a different. I don't really use that word marketing. No. But I guess it is. I guess that's my way of doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's easy, isn't it, to fall into that trap of. I mean, like I say, we can talk about it more in the course. But what comes up for me around this is always the same thing with marketing. It's like there's two types really. There's attraction, which is waiting for people to come to you based on what you're writing, what you're putting out there, the content, and that sort of stuff. And then there's creation, which is very straight, very deliberate, very direct, which is, I think I can help you with that. Let's have a conversation, have some coaching, create an experience, make the proposal. I mean, obviously there's way more to it than that, but it's, my point being that it's very direct, it's very deliberate. There's no accident to this. There's no sitting on your hands waiting. It's, I'm going to go and coach. I'm going to go and serve. I'm going to go and help people. So that's how we build our practice, essentially, through doing that, being very deliberate, very direct, and creating, not sitting back. And all of the shit that comes with that. Yeah. It's hard, man. It's especially in the early days, it's scary, but it's also really, really awesome and rewarding, and it's the other side of what you want.
Cool. We've managed to make another hour-long video.
It's actually an hour. Sorry, not sorry though.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Cool. I'm going to end the recording, and hopefully this has been useful for people. And we will see you in the group on Wednesday, or in our School of Service Facebook group before then.
Perfect. Cheers, guys.